All my life I have been what some people call straight up. I believe that a man should tell the truth, keep his word, and live honestly. This includes the ability to forgive when necessary, but I have never groveled before anyone. That night, I threw it all out the window. I would have lied and broken my word, and the only honor I would have had left would have been the self-respect that comes with revenge. To hell with forgiveness. I sat in my car outside the Nickel Inn. It's a bar in town. Don't ask me why it's called that. It's been there since my father wore short pants, and beer probably cost a penny. I knew Jeff would be inside. He always stopped in for a drink on his way home from work. I'd known Jeff since elementary school. He was my best friend for as long as I could remember. He supported me when I married Barb, and I supported him when he married Claire. There wasn't a time when he wasn't part of my life. We were like brothers and practically lived in each other's houses while we were growing up. That didn't change much after we got married, and it was no big deal for them to drop by our house or ours without warning. Betrayal changes a person. Less than 5 hours later, I ran home during my lunch break to pick up some files I had left there. Everything seemed fine. I walked through the front door and headed for my office when I heard them. My first thought was, my wife is in trouble. You can imagine the struggle. Then I heard her voice and understood. I could hear laughter between the grumbling. I walked over to the open bedroom door, looked inside, and all my doubts vanished. They didn't notice me. I'm not the kind of person who would stand there and watch my wife and best friend betray me, so I just turned around and left through the front door the same way I came in. My old life was over. I never picked up those files and only remembered them a few hours later. I was useless at work. I just sat there, replaying what I had seen in my head, asking questions that no man should ever ask. Why? How long? Were there others? Are they my children? I didn't know how I would get home or what I would do when I got there. Maybe I should just get in the car, drive away, and not stop until I'm thousands of miles away. Then my thoughts turned to darker thoughts. I would divorce her and kill him. I would leave her with nothing. Then, as time passed, I thought about my children. I could live without a wife, but I couldn't deprive them of their mother. I decided I had little choice. I would deal with them both in my own way and in my own time. But first I would weave my web of lies, just as they had woven theirs. On the way to the Nickel Inn, I wondered, how could two people I had known for so many years betray me like this? What was wrong with me? Had I changed? Had they changed? I would think about this for weeks and months, struggling with a terrible feeling of inadequacy. I thought, there are no answers to these questions because the only people who have the answers can't be trusted to tell the truth. I felt truly lost and alone. The truth will be the first thing sacrificed tonight. I wasn't pretending when I walked into the Nickel Inn with a mask of anger and disappointment on my face. Jeff saw me as soon as I walked in and shouted, "John, over here, buddy!" Son of a bitch, I thought to myself. I nodded, exhaled, and lowered my gaze so he wouldn't notice that my anger was directed at him. Approaching, I sat down at his table. Ralph was with him. Ralph is his buddy from work. Everything turned out better than I had imagined. "Just in time, John. I was about to order a drink, but now we can order a pitcher." "Just a drink for me. I couldn't afford to get pulled over today." "Dude, you look like your dog just died. What's wrong with you?" "I don't have a dog, Jeff. You know that. Now that the kids are in school, my wife and I are alone." That's when it hit me. Empty nest syndrome. Was that what it was? Was that what made her cheat on me? "So what's bothering you?" Jeff seemed equally concerned about me and perhaps himself. That's the thing about con artists. They always know they can get caught, and they're always worried they'll leave a trail. "She killed me, Jeff. She fucking killed me. I'm dead, and all I have left is to fall." "What the hell are you talking about? Who killed you?" "You're not dead. You're sitting right here." Come on, John. Whatever it is, it can't be that bad. I looked him in the eye and said, She gave me AIDS, Jeff. Barb gave me AIDS. They say your face turns pale when you're in shock and green when you're being pumped. We were miles from the sea, but all I could see that day was green. My former best friend turned green as a ghost, jumped up from the table and ran to the men's room. He didn't make it. Whatever was in his stomach that night spread across the floor of the bar. The patrons in front of him, behind him, to his left and right, screamed in disgust and jumped up from their seats to get away from the mess and the stench. He was clearly not himself. A sick drunk is not the most popular person in a bar, and to the other patrons, that's exactly what he was. When the commotion subsided, I turned back to the table and looked at Ralph. He looked like he wanted to run away. My wife is cheating on me. Not a bad way to find out, is it? Ralph just nodded. The only word that could describe his expression was fear. I wonder if he'll be able to put the pieces of the puzzle together later. In the end, Jeff managed to pull himself together as best he could. When he returned to our table, he was not popular. All the way back, he caught people's glances and comments. He approached our table and, looking down at me, asked, Are you sure? How do you know? I wasn't feeling well, so the doctor ordered some blood tests. The results came back today. Jeff just nodded, turned, and left the bar. Message sent. Ralph found a good excuse to leave a minute later, and I wondered who he would tell first. In any case, I enjoyed my cold beer while thinking about my next move. I wondered briefly what the other people at the other tables must be thinking about me as I sat there smiling quietly to myself, enjoying my beer. I sent the message quietly enough that the people at the neighboring tables wouldn't realize what had happened to Jeff and why Ralph had left so abruptly. It didn't matter. With an empty glass and a surprisingly steady pulse for a dead man, I paid the bill and walked to my car. I smiled to myself and thought, assholes, they got me the check for everyone. Never mind. It was a small price to pay for the satisfaction I felt. It was around 7 when I got home. Dinner was burning, smoke was coming out of the oven. I turned it off and opened the window. I thought I knew where Barb might be, so I put on my most grim face and went into the bedroom. I found her lying face down on the bed, sobbing and shaking. I thought to myself, message sent and received. In the most casual tone I could muster, I asked, Did you have a bad day? She screamed, and her screams grew louder. I had a bad day too. I know what happened to me. What happened to you? Sometimes I can be a real jerk. Through her crying, I heard her whisper, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. For a moment, I felt sorry for what I had done. Then I remembered what I had seen that day, and my regret disappeared. I started moving my clothes to the guest room, and she noticed my efforts during my second trip. What are you doing? I asked. I'm moving to the guest room. Please don't go. I need you here. I just stared at her and continued getting dressed. Later that evening, there were muffled phone calls. I didn't try to listen, but I could hear one clearly when Barb yelled into the phone, You were the only one, you jerk. I got this from you. Take 3 guesses who she was talking to. It was strange and nice to know that Jeff was the only one, and it made me smile. Whatever had caused her to cheat on me seemed to be recent and short-lived. Soon my anger returned, and shortly after that, my ashamed wife sat down across from me and asked, Can we talk? You talk. I'll listen. She wrung her hands and looked at the floor. I did a terrible thing. I know that. I don't know if you'll ever forgive me, but I want you to know something. First, I'm very sorry. I don't know what came over me. Poor choice of words, I thought. She continued. Second, it was only twice, and both times with the same man. I know that doesn't excuse it, but I don't want you to think I've done this before. She lifted her head and looked me in the eyes. Please take a DNA test if you want, but never think that the children aren't yours. They are yours. Swear to God. I've been a good wife for 25 years. I've never cheated on you. And then, in the last 2 months, I did something stupid. Who was it? I knew damn well who it was, but they say confession is good for the soul. Please don't make me say it. Then I guess we're done. No, please, I've already caused you too much pain. I need a name. After a long silence, she said, Okay, it was Jeff? My friend Jeff? Claire's husband, Jeff? I tried to keep my voice steady. She just nodded. I decided to pretend I was thinking about the new information. Maybe I could convince her. Why did you do that? Those were all the words I could say at that moment. She shook her head. The first time, I drank too much. You weren't there and Jeff came over. He just knocked and came in like he always did. We talked and he joked around. Like he always did. We drank wine and I guess I had too much. It was just that one time. I couldn't get him to leave. I was so ashamed that I cried all night. And then? She looked at me with such sadness and guilt that I had never seen before. To be honest, I don't know. Every time I saw Claire since we first met, I felt so guilty. I couldn't live with it. But then the kids grew up. We both work. And I feel old. I know that's no excuse, and I can't give you any reason to forgive me. I just want you to know that this has never happened before. It was only twice, and only with Jeff. I know you hate me, but please believe me that I was faithful to you from our first date until 2 months ago. I had almost nothing to say. I listened and was surprised, but I was inclined to believe her. 25 years of marriage had taught me to recognize a lie, or so I thought. Now I had my doubts. I need a lot to think about. With those words, I went to sleep in the guest room. It wasn't much, but it was the biggest bone I was going to throw her. As you can imagine, the next few days in our house were quiet. Or at least they were quiet. But from time to time, I would throw angry words at her. Maybe it was just my imagination, but it seemed to me that Barb was shrinking. That was all I could come up with. I wanted to hurt them both as much as possible, but I didn't know what to do next. On top of that, I wanted to get back at Jeff. But all I had was his stunt at the bar. I had no idea. They say there's no honor among thieves, but Jeff surprised me in 2 ways. First, he really was cheating on Claire with several other women. Second, he did the noble thing and told them he might have given them HIV, or did Ralph put 2 and 2 together and break the news? I'll probably never know. In any case, I didn't expect it. Neither did his wife, when a string of women knocked on her door wanting to hurt Jeff. They didn't hesitate to tell his wife everything. I would have thought Jeff would have told his wife before his friends. But Jeff wasn't like that. Maybe he was working up the courage, or maybe he got tested first. It didn't matter. The next week, Jeff moved into a hotel room and started looking for a cheap apartment. I didn't feel sorry for him. Around that time, it dawned on me. I remembered the bloody mess from the week before, and I thought, damn, maybe I should get tested for real. The test came back negative, and I thought I was out of the woods. It became clear to me that I hadn't thought things through. This fact became obvious to me about a week after I verbally punched Jeff in the gut with my HIV story. When my wife got tested and it came back negative and she still thought I was positive, her shame and guilt evaporated almost instantly. One afternoon, Barb burst into my office, spewing profanities that would have made a Marine blush. She slammed the office door behind her and lunged at me. She waved the test results in my face and screamed, "Who the hell is she? You make me feel like dirt, and all this time you've been cheating on me behind my back. Who the hell is she? You son of a bitch, when I'm done with you, HIV will be the least of your problems." She screamed for a good 2 minutes until she finally ran out of breath. After that, she collapsed into a chair and cried uncontrollably. Well, if I wanted revenge, it seemed I had gotten it. Now it was time to sink or swim. I walked around my desk, knelt down, and hugged her. She pushed me away, but continued to cry, so I hugged her again, and this time she held me tight. "What are we going to do, John? We've ruined everything." I took a deep breath and said, "We'll cry it out, clean ourselves up and go home. Then we'll go back to our normal lives. It'll take a lot of work, and we'll have to start all over again." "Oh, John, we can't have sex now. You have HIV. The word I had in mind was forgiveness, and it starts with us forgiving each other. "I forgive you, John, but our life together is over." She sobbed as she said the words. "No, it's not. Barb, look at me. I forgive you for your affair, and you have to forgive me for lying to you." Now she seemed less angry than confused. "We both lied to each other, John. That's what betrayal is." "No, Barb, I mean I lied to you about having HIV. That's not true. That day I came home and saw you with Jeff. I was so angry that I ran out of the house and decided to get revenge. I decided to tell Jeff that you had given me HIV, knowing it would scare him to death. To be honest, that was as far as I thought it would go. After that, I was just reacting to what was happening." Barb's face slowly changed as she processed the new information. To be honest, I had no idea what would happen next, but she surprised me. Her whole tone changed. Instead of anger, there was concern. Her voice became soft, as if the anger and pain had left her as she thought it through. "So you're not sick?" "No." "And you're not going to die?" "No." "You scared the hell out of me, John. You hurt me like hell, Barb." She thought about it for a moment. "And you never cheated on me with some slut?" "No, Barb, I would never cheat on you." "I guess that makes me the only cheater in the family," she said, looking dejected. "We're a great couple, aren't we, John?" "I guess so. Do you think we should try again?" For the first time since she had entered my office, she smiled. "Yes, John." "Okay. How about I pack up my briefcase and we head home early?" "Yes, John." We held hands as we walked through the corridors of my office and out of the building. At that moment, I felt strangely proud of this woman. She had cheated on me with my best friend, but she still felt guilty and ashamed, and she had paid the price for looking in the mirror and not liking what she saw there. I was optimistic and believed that we could rebuild our marriage and make it stronger. "I'm still angry with you, John." "I know. The feeling is mutual." We were furious, but there were tears in our eyes too. Only time would tell if we had the character and determination to forgive each other. I was sure we did. Forgiveness cannot be earned. It can only be given. Restoring trust is even more difficult. It's a constant struggle. Nevertheless, we recognized the reality of our actions, took responsibility, and worked to heal each other. Barb quickly acknowledged that she understood my actions and didn't hold a grudge against me. I never reached that point with her, but I recognize that we are all human and make mistakes that we sincerely regret. Another act of forgiveness was required, and it led me to Claire's front door. My actions against Jeff caused her unspeakable fear because she assumed she might have HIV too. I apologized for not telling her sooner so she wouldn't worry. I had to admit that in my anger and pain, I never thought about her. In one difficult conversation, she went from anger to forgiveness and genuine joy as she laughed at my personal revenge on her soon-to-be ex-husband. She and Barb never managed to repair their relationship, which I think was a great loss for both of them. I saw no reason to forgive Jeff. He was a predator we had let into our lives, and we were better off without him. I never told him I was clean, or that Barb didn't have HIV, and I didn't see the point. Ralph did a better job than I expected. Much to her embarrassment, Barb had to explain over and over again that the rumors about her illness were greatly exaggerated, that she didn't have HIV, and that we were still together. It seemed that none of the people Ralph told about this bothered to let Jeff know.